Agree. No, this is great. I love that we disagree because I love your reasoning and I agree with your reasoning. Um, First of all, I love that. I think the Paul Levesque, and I think I read the lips, and I think somebody said, I think that's the first. I
That
think
was
Sami
Stephanie.
Zayn or
It
somebody
was
said it, like,
Stephanie,
leaned
yeah.
over, like, "I think that's the first time you've ever been chanted Paul Levesque in your"
Yeah.
like, that's what
Yeah.
made this whole week great. Like, I'm telling you,
That's what I'm
right,
saying.
wrong, our opinions are right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Like, this
Nah.
was the best week, 7 to 10 days of professional wrestling I've ever witnessed in my entire life.
Dude, yeah. But yeah, and even wrapping up Osprey, like I didn't hate it. I think it was unnecessary. I get it. I don't hate responding. I totally, and like you said, you're gonna punch up when you're number two. You're gonna want to punch up to number one. Totally
Yeah,
get that.
of
Don't
course.
disagree. You should do that. You should whatever. But
100%.
to me, it just wasn't logical, and it just was kind of like I don't know, a couple flags for me. But I think I want to talk about Mania though. What about you?
Mania. Let's talk about Mania. We're
Yes, let's
sorry if this
talk.
go. We have a history, so we've been on 2 podcasts and we've gone longer than an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. But guys, listen, if I gotta timestamp this episode for Ashley, I will,
No,
just to
I'm
make
making
sure that you
notes.
guys, yeah, please, because it's a lot to digest. And in this sense of wrestling and everything, a podcast has to go over. Unless we agree that maybe we have to do maybe a weekly or monthly segment, I'm totally down. If
I
the
mean,
viewers agree, I think we have a good vibe. I think we have a good your side and my side. I tend to be a little bit more aggressive on my takes, and you tend to be the opposite on the yours, which I respect always. But hey, if we got to make this a monthly segment, maybe every PLE, maybe once a week, once a month, just to check in, I'm down. I got the time.
hell yeah. Hell yeah. But no, I'm definitely making timestamps because I will absolutely split
Good.
it up. At least maybe into AEW and then a WWE portion. So, and then of course, this
Cool.
timestamp to make it
Cool.
easier. Because I'm that person too. Sometimes if I just want to get to a point, I just want to get to a point. Um, but Mania, dude, I just want, and again, this isn't a match by match review. Hell yeah. That's great. That's great.
Switch it up.
Um,
Production right here.
yeah,
Kick
that's
Ass
beautiful.
Podcast.
Fuck yeah. Um, just your overall thoughts. Again, this isn't a full, like I said, match by match recap. Everyone already
Yeah.
knows what happened. And I also want to talk in or include Monday Night Raw as well. I'm not sure if you saw at least just the portion with Rock and Cody. Um
I
and then
see.
a couple
I
other
seen
things.
everything.
Okay, cool. But yeah, man, so your overall thoughts, and then you can obviously just start with night one. You, again, just anything that stood out to you from there, or if you just want to go to night two and the big deal that is the record breaking moment from night two.
So what I did notice night one, I'll take it like night one, night two, was night one you could see production a lot cleaner, a lot simpler, I guess. I think with the Vince McMahon era, and I hate to be the person that compares, but we have to because this is what we're doing moving forward. Is I think we've seen a lot less taking away from the current talent. I think WrestleMania has always been a spectacle, right? We've always talked about how it's you have celebrities and sometimes you question, hey, should we have had that during WrestleMania? I get why you did it,
Mm-hmm.
but was it necessary? I thought night one there was not a lot of extracurricular, and that's why I enjoyed it. It was this is the match, this is who's facing who, and this is what we're going with. It wasn't a lot of extra stuff in between. It wasn't a lot of celebrities or extracurriculars ruining the match or taking away from the product. I thought
Mm-hmm.
night one of WrestleMania was as pure wrestling as you could get, as far as this is who's facing each other and this is probably going to be the end result. I thought that because after night one ended and I woke up the next day and I was like, wow, that was kind of weird. I thought there would be a lot more either run-ins or surprises or celebrities coming in and involving them in an awkward way, whether it was backstage or in the ring. I think night one really did celebrate what WrestleMania is about truly without the extra shit. Did you feel like that as well? Like, I don't know if,
Yeah.
because you were watching instead of being there, so that's different.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think what you said there is perfect because night one, and I think it shows how cognizant they are as well of booking in advance and sticking with their story and knowing what they're doing more than just a night or two in advance or switching it up on that afternoon or an hour before. They knew what they were doing in the main
Switching it
event.
up an hour before. You said it
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
That's what they
bro.
do.
Like, yeah. And I think knowing what they were going to do in that main event Sunday night in that bloodline rules match, the fact that it was it was going to be chaos and everyone and their mother was going to interfere, I think they were cognizant of that going forward, and especially in night one. And I think, and especially to me, like the thing that kind of stood out to me was the presentation, and maybe for more than one reason of Rhea, of Rhea Ripley, and the fact that it's kind of like a joke now. Like if you get like a band introduction, like you're gonna win your match. If there you're not gonna lose if you have a live performance.
Yeah.
But I think her band actually like
Except if you're Shawn Michaels versus Austin and you have
yeah,
performing the
that's true.
DX theme
That
song,
is
but
true.
that's
That is
another
true. That is true.
legend WrestleMania moment.
Facts, yeah. But and I think they did a great job too. So shout out to them. Like it was
Yes.
so good. It sounded just like her like actual theme. Like you can make out what they were saying. It was just great.
People were like,
But
I love the memes that was saying like I was scared more of him singing the band because I've never seen who sings it. And first of all, when I came back from Royal Rumble, I introduced my wife Brianna to Rhea Ripley's intro, and we played it 5 consecutive times in the car ride home, and she fell in love with it. To hear it
yeah.
live was awesome. Like, first of all, I do like Rhea with shorter hair versus longer. I will say that.
True. Yeah, true. Facts. No, I agree there.
Okay. Good.
But she just looks like a star, bro, and she's just going so far. Like, part of me, and real quick, I get your thought on this from since we're talking night one. Part of me kind of wants her away from Judgment Day, but part of me is it's like it doesn't maybe necessarily need to happen now, but I feel like it kind of has her in more of a holding pattern where I feel like she could really take off and really be more of the face of Raw, but she's not because she's kind of still with Judgment Day. Now, with Damian Priest obviously being the new champion going forward, that could change because maybe they'll both be in an equal spotlight. And especially, I would assume Cody is going to be more on SmackDown, although he did say he wants to be on both shows. Um, but I don't know. Like I don't know. Maybe it doesn't need to happen yet, but I think within the next year, some changes have to be made, though. At least with her, if you really want to like push her to the moon, which you obviously should. And I think they are, but they're just maybe being more patient than I want them to.
Yeah, Rhea's liquid hot, and I think if they build up Jade Cargill,
Mm-hmm.
that'll be known in the next 6 months. Whether like, because it's funny because you could build somebody up like we learned with Roman Reigns. Like you could build up anybody you want. Does
Yeah.
the crowd get behind it? Does the viewers want it? Will be it. And I think if I'm just projecting like 1 year from now, can I see Rhea Ripley, Jade Cargill? 100%. And that's a heavyweight, a real women's heavyweight championship. That would probably be somebody that takes her down. I know what they're going to build up, like Liv Morgan, stuff like that. She's not Liv Morgan. I love her. She's adorable. She's
That
she's good
attack
to
on
look at.
Monday, though, dude, and that smooth
Yeah,
camera
bro,
transition,
that
bro.
throwing her
Oh
the chair on her face, that was not clean. That was,
no,
I think,
that
a conversation happened after.
no, that wasn't. But when Dominic went to check on Rhea when Rhea was down, and the camera came right into Dom, and he was like, "Get away!" and he hit the camera, and then it was just panned right over and went right back into the arena to the next shot. Like you said earlier,
Dude,
the production, just everything. Oh,
Production
it's so
is
great.
it's so
It's
good. It's
so
like
great.
it feels like you're watching a real like either show like that, like because we're all fans of like shows here, whether it's like the
Yeah.
classic shows back in the day or what's going on now. You're watching real production. You got rid of the old mindset of what they thought pro wrestling was or should look like. And now you're getting a more gritty, truly raw, like production of like what people think is cool. Like how I think of pro wrestling is what I think of like like UFC 300s happening on Saturday. And I believe
Yeah.
that you'll see WWE superstars in the stands for uh UFC 300 because it just makes
Mhm.
sense. They
Maybe
they
even
they
Cody.
fight in Vegas. Maybe Cody. If I'm Triple H, I'm sending Cody, Damian, Rhea to UFC 300, and maybe a fourth person, maybe like a challenger, Jade, or somebody up and coming. And I'm sending them just to give that face value because you have very few opportunities to take advantage of. WrestleMania has been talked about everywhere I look. Every podcast I listen to, non wrestling related, has talked about WrestleMania,
Oh
even with
yeah,
my
dude.
friends. So you need to take advantage that it's liquid hot. And I think that they should send people to Vegas. But also, I'm so intrigued to see UFC take a page of WWE in UFC 300, and you're going to see a little bit more promotion, little production. Like, you know what I mean? It's a perfect romance and a perfect like marriage of these two entities taking place. And I think that UFC 300, they should take an advantage of that. And I think that I'm excited to watch UFC 300 because I know it's going to be a great promotion because they're all tied in into the same company.
No, facts. I'm right there with you. I I think I'm very excited too. Even just the little things that we've seen. Just I forget which fighter it was, but they were at it was a random Raw, and there was a fighter sitting right behind I think the announce table. And of course they
Yep.
do their celebrity shots, but they gave him a mic and he just gave like a quick shout out for his
Yeah,
fight or a
Gaethje.
challenge. Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So it was
he's a beast too.
yeah, yeah. So it's just like just little things like that, like you don't.
Mhm.
And again, UFC fans are probably some of the people out there the most who despise wrestling. So I
Yes.
get it. They don't want WWE infringing
Well,
on
bring
their
some in.
baby.
If you get a third of those in, oh my
But
God.
dude,
You know
and
what
if
that
you can
does?
add just a sprinkle of story into your UFC title or your UFC just fights, like dude, like it's I'm not saying you have to go in and script the fights, obviously. You don't want to change what makes it legit and what makes it the UFC,
Yeah.
but like you can add a little bit more pomp and circumstance to it. You can add a little bit more flair and a little bit more,
You know who's
just
a
make it
big
more of a spectacle,
You
you
know who
know?
I'm a big fan of that I think is going to take that to the next level is Shane O'Malley. Shane O'Malley has done a couple promos in UFC that when I watch it on pay-per-view and it happened organically, whether it was post interview, it's like this is the WWE superstar. Like he like reeks all of it from the look,
Yeah.
from the way he talks, from the way he's so self-confident. It's like this is a guy that WWE got to look at, or UFC's got to look at. Like you could do a lot of promotions to get it going, and I think they're going to learn from each other. So to
Yeah.
backtrack with WrestleMania, sorry to go off track with that, but
No,
yeah,
not at
Rhea
all.
Ripley. I think that Jade Cargill would be somebody that goes off. I think Becky takes some time off promoting her book. You also have Charlotte Flair coming back, obviously for SummerSlam.
Mhm.
Who else? Bianca Belair's always she's being promoted a lot. Who else? Who else
I
in the
think there's gonna
women's?
be possibly a tag team of Bianca and Jade Cargo going for it. I could see that. Obviously we have
Like
the trio.
soft opening, like just to
Yeah.
not get her individual yet. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, because I think they're a good pairing in general. Obviously, there's a lot of similarities there, but even just background wise, Mark Henry was the one who helped discover Bianca Belair to bring her into WWE way back when, but then he also
I
did the
did not
same
know
thing
that.
for Jade Cargill into
Oh,
AEW.
nice.
So just them having that common bond, and then obviously they, if you didn't know, they both like to work out. So they have, I'm assuming,
They're
so
both
many things.
chiseled as fuck.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
visit the gym once or twice. So they have a lot of shit in common. Just me speculating, knowing a handful of things about them. You know what I mean? So if that. So I think it'd be very cool to see them as a tag team, and I think it'd be very cool to have possibly Bianca turn on Jade, and then that could be your match going into Mania next year or something to that effect. But I think
How do you feel? How do you feel about people teaming then breaking up? Because I think that's such an old, and I get it in wrestling. It's just an easy gimmick, and I get it. Like make people best friends, make people tag team, and then they break apart. I get it.
mhm.
It's like the foundation to what pro wrestling is, but I feel like it's overused.
It is. It definitely is. But
Okay.
until we have more evidence that we're going to get out of that formula, I don't
Okay.
think we're there
Okay.
yet. I think
All right.
possibly within the next few years, but I think for, and especially in the women's division, I think because it's hard for women to even get a storyline that's not related to the title. So I think for situations like that, they need kind of like a crutch to be like, oh, okay, well, this makes sense. They'll be a tag partner. That'll cover them for 3-6 months. Then, well, we'll be heading into Mania and close to the Rumble. So we'll need some type of dissension there. And then, again, not saying that's what's going to happen, but the women need all the help they can get storyline wise. That's not, like I said, title related. It's gotten
Yeah.
much better, much better. Obviously over the
And
years,
also
especially with Hunter.
Rhea will need some time off after this long run of, and
She's
I
already
feel
at a
like
year.
she's been champion for a year, but she's been
Yeah.
after it since COVID. So
Oh
she's
yeah.
had 3 or 4 years now doing double duty with Judgment Day. So there's times where even if you don't have an injury and she does have a wrist injury that she's fighting through,
Yeah.
she'll need some time off, rightfully so. And anybody that gets time off, shout out Roman Reigns, that got time off, and look at him now. Seth
Hmm.
Rollins will get that time off now. So time off in pro wrestling is super necessary to build your character even further. So Rhea Ripley has earned her time off soon. It'll just be interesting. Maybe maybe they go with an interim, kind of like they did with um Io Sky, how they had like a champion for 3 months just to be defeated at SummerSlam. But I
Yeah.
think I think Rhea should hold it if she's healthy till next year, and then get defeated by a superstar of that level for sure.
Yeah, I see Rhea going into Mania next year with the title, and I could see them wanting to do
Agreed.
something very similar with Roman. I don't see her going the full length that
Yeah.
Roman did, but I could see minimum 2 years for this reign, and then depending on where they're at with other people going from there. But I think it's a good sign that they're already thinking, they're already building, they already had like Naomi, Bianca, Jade spotlighted, and then they followed up with it with Jade on Raw. So that's it. That was a good sign for me, and just kind of made me feel a little bit better. I do shout out to Seth Rollins. You mentioned Becky and made me think of Seth. I think amongst everyone, that dude deserves a good 6 months off just to do nothing, do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
He owns a coffee shop, a wrestling, or
He
he
couldn't
has a
he couldn't
training
even get in
school.
the ring. He couldn't even get in the ring post
Dude,
Cody winning. He couldn't, like, he
yeah,
needed 3 wrestlers to help him. Like,
it's
dude, shout out him.
but and to think that he's been battling so many different injuries and probably shit that we don't even know about too, like gotta give him his flowers, and not just because of obviously how great he is, but
Agreed.
just thinking back of while Roman's been out, he has been the guy, whether he's been the champion or not. Like he's been the backbone. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So shout out to him, and I hope him and Becky do take well deserved time off. So you saying Becky just made me think about Rollins as well. But really quick with night one, obviously the main event we'll touch on here and then tie that into night two. But I do just want to say Gunther, man. Gunther is that dude. I think depending on the route that they go with Judgment Day and Damian Priest, depending on how long he keeps the title, I'm very interested to see if they wouldn't keep Gunther as a bad guy, or when have him maybe take a month or two off, not too long, but have him come back and just embrace the excitement, because people are going to be excited to see him return, right? And I think him not being there on Monday was a big sign, because he could have very easily came back and been like, you it was a fluke win, da 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 da. Like, I've been champion X amount of time. Like, it was just I had a slip and a fall type shit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, but I think that if they really want to make Gunther a good guy, they can keep him out maybe a month, 2 months, something like that. And then if they keep Damian as the champion, depending on what they do with Drew, I think that you could very easily have Gunther face off against Damian Priest, and I think that would be a very good match. But
Hmm.
I think right now I think you got to get the title back on Drew now. I think part of me too quick. Um, But part of me is still like, I get it, and I like what they did with Priest, and I kind of figured they were gonna go that route. But man, like, and it plays into Drew's story too of always getting screwed, and this time he did, but he didn't, because that's the name of the game. Like, that's Money in the Bank. Like, you have to be ready. And the
Yeah,
story is he set himself up. He could have very easily
I
celebrated and
like
then
that
gone to the
angle.
back. You know what
I
I mean?
love that angle.
Yeah,
I
but
love that
he
angle of being. I think somebody said it was he was so obsessed with CM
with
Punk
Punk, yeah,
that
it
costed
cost
him
him.
like brilliant writing,
Yeah.
brilliant production on
Mhm.
whoever came up with that was like, you're gonna win. And it's funny because when he was talking to Sam Punk, we're like, why is he like overdoing it?
Like,
Why is he
yeah, yeah, like, you
obsessed?
get
And
it,
then it
bro.
happened and it makes sense. And it goes, oh my God, whoever thought about this writing aspect,
Mhm.
I'm saying is like these are the things that post McMahon that I think is well thought out now, and back in the day it's just too simple, and it's just like they would have made it a little quirky and corny. And I love that I was watching him being obsessed with CM Punk, and that's what made him lose his title. That was
Mhm.
perfect. That was great
That's
storyline because
perfect.
when CM Punk becomes healthy, boom, you got a rival without a title, without a belt, and
And
that's what you want.
exactly. And I was gonna say the exact same thing, and now it doesn't even matter if Drew is the champion. Yes, I personally want him to find his way back to the title, but it's not key to Punk coming back. So if Punk comes back next month or 6 months from now, Drew doesn't have to be champion. They have a built-in story. Yes, they already
Perfect.
did, but before it was more focused on the title, whereas now it's just a blood feud at this point, because now Drew is just incensed. And I'm very happy that I was worried that we weren't going to get any type of mic time from Drew or any type of presence from Drew on Raw. And I think that would have been just a foul, just a big L on WWE's part, but they didn't. And I think that the fact that they gave him mic time and that he was pissed off, and he it sounded like just a regular conversation, shit that he would have been saying to whomever. I just dig it. And I think Drew, and that's why I want them to try to figure out a way to get back to him. But as
What
long as they got him re-signed, that's all that matters.
what you're seeing is, yeah, you're right, because that's a big free agency, which I they've invested enough in him where I think people like
Oh,
him as a bad guy. He's better as a bad guy for sure. He's so much in more entertaining as a heel than as a baby face. But what you're seeing now in this new regime, and it's going back 6 months, is you're seeing every superstar is involved with multiple segments where you got Drew with Seth, Drew with CM Punk, Drew with Damian. So God
mhm.
forbid if an injury happens, you just segue,
Exactly.
boom. You just pivot. And I don't think I've seen that happen in the old regime where usually you're locked in. And then now, like back in the day, I feel like when you're locked in such a all right, this guy and this guy's feuding, and then an injury happens or something, the crowd's not liking it, and you pivot and you have to like adapt. It doesn't feel as swift and smooth.
No.
You're what, and I think I love that. Like Gunther, you have Cody Rhodes and Gunther with the Royal Rumble last 2 years,
Exactly.
right? So
Exactly.
now
Yeah.
you could keep that in the bank. You don't have to cash in right away. That's something you could do right now, and it could be a rival, but you could cash in on that in a year and a half, because people will remember that, like wrestling nerds like us. You're
Yeah.
seeing like storylines being built with multiple people, especially with the bloodline now, with Roman assuming he's going to go away for 3 months, which he should. He should go away for at least 2, which will create whatever you want to
Oh,
bring him
he'll
back
be.
at.
Yeah.
And guess what? You got the Fatus. We're signing Fatus left and right. You got Michael Fatu, Jacob Fatu, Fatu, this fat, like you got a
Yeah,
whole
bro.
bloodline. So
Yeah.
you're able to keep this story with the bloodline. And I love the writing that's going on right now, because you need to create storylines with multiple opponents just in case. And that's what went into night 2, not to get ahead, but I think we can
Yeah.
go into night 2 where John Cena comes out. People that don't know, why did John Cena come out? Solo Sikoa put John Cena out. Boom, storyline. Most people don't care. Most of the people that I had in my house have no idea why John Cena came out against Solo, nor did they care. They don't care. It's John Cena. We know why.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Seth Rollins comes out saying, I'll be your shield if you need me, in a promo, comes out as this. This is the
And to the
greatest moment
music,
of my life.
like dressed in the
Like,
gear, literally took the fall. And it plays and to that point, it plays
I'm
right
fanning out right now.
into
I'm like
it.
reliving. I'm fanning out.
Yeah.
This is
And
amazing.
the beauty of it is, again, and it rekindles and it sets another layer to the feud that is Roman and Seth, because Seth has always been the one guy that Roman cannot beat. Even when they had the title match, it was by disqualification. So the fact that Seth is still the thing that ended up costing Roman at the end of the night, because had Roman just hit Cody with the chair, Cody may not have won the title.
That was
That could have
another
been the end
little
of it.
detail.
And the
That
fact
was
that
another
Roman,
little.
yeah, the fact that Roman hit Seth in the same form in the back. Seth's back was turned just like Roman's back was turned to Seth way back when Seth turned on him. It's the same format.
He couldn't. He
Roman,
couldn't
he
resist. He
couldn't
couldn't
resist.
resist.
And so now when Roman comes back, potentially as a good guy, most likely, depending on the longer he's out, the more loved he's going to be when he comes back. And that was not made more clear to me than when I was sitting in Philadelphia on Monday night, my guy, because if I
How
would
was
have,
that environment, dude? Like,
oh, the
was
fact
it as
that
electric on Sunday and Monday as I was watching it? Like, let's talk about that, dude.
Sunday was more emotional in the sense that it was building and building and building. And especially with the way that they laid out the match, it was building to, okay, he's got this. He's got this. And then as the 3 hit, it almost didn't feel real, because yes, he hit the 3 crossroads, but he's hit the 3 crossroads before. I was expecting a 4th, and the fact that he went for the 3rd and then he got the 3 count out of that, I wasn't expecting it right then and there. So that, and then once you see it, it's like, holy fuck, this actually happened. Then you're just wrapped up in the moment, and then you see all these people come out, and then it's just this big ordeal, right? Monday was the exact opposite experience, but Monday was probably one of the best shows that I've ever been to, for the simple fact that it just felt real. It felt like as real as it could get. And it wrestling is what it is, but when I tell you, dude, the fact that, and again, the cursing doesn't make or break a show to me, but it adds another layer of that wasn't supposed to happen, like you said earlier. So Rock comes out. Of course, you're gonna get that initial reaction, like, holy shit, it's The Rock, and be happy that you're witnessing The Rock in person. Before he even made it to the ring, people were already turning on him. The fans chanted for him to shut the fuck up, right? And I'm sure I haven't watched it back, but I'm pretty confident it came across on TV. The Rock said what he was gonna say, said some shit, and it sounded like he was building up the Philly fans, like despite what you have to say about me. It was a record setting, da 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 da. And then I forget exactly what he said, but then he said, "So Philly, you can shut the fuck up." And the fact that he said you can shut the fuck up, it made me mad, dude. It legit made me mad. I was like, no, you shut the fuck up,
Real.
Rock. You
Yeah,
shut the fuck
real.
up. Yeah, like I was like, and then I had to like
Like, and
correct
you're
myself.
somebody that like
I don't
lives
get
it.
mad.
So it's
Yeah, and
it's
like,
like, why am I feeling
dude,
like I
what,
like The Rock? Why am I feeling the need to
bro?
tell The
It,
Rock to shut
oh,
the fuck up?
yeah, and so it just added to it, and it just added. Let's be real. Cody Rhodes is not the baby face and the typical character that your average guy like yourself is gonna cheer for and gonna root for. You're gonna default, especially with your wrestling knowledge and coming from the era that you watched, you're gonna default to The Rock. You know what I mean? But the fact that Cody has so many people saying Rocky sucks, telling The Rock to shut the fuck up, and it's not just this like, oh yeah, we're in on the game type thing. Yeah, we're in on it, but we believe with him, man. Like it felt so organic. Everywhere I went, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, dude. Everywhere I went, even at the airport, there was so much love for Cody. Like there was your
Ah,
Rock
so
fans, but there
jealous.
were so many Cody, like the We Want Cody, like everything, like finish your story. Like it was kind of unreal in a lot of ways that like the dude who literally like would be years ago, 10 years ago. Like people would see Cody's character like cuz people gave shit to Cena being Super Cena and wearing all the different colored t-shirts like John Cena got made fun of for less than what Cody is doing right now. Cody
Yeah.
Rhodes is literally a walking American flag and with our country the way it is, not getting into
And we
that,
got to
but
be careful Cody getting too over as a good guy. And is that what
yeah.
you're gonna allude to?
Yeah, eventually, yeah. But like just the fact that he can be this stereotypical like white meat baby face essentially and be so loved. I forget who said it, but he's one of those situations where you don't have to be truly hated to be truly loved. He's the exact
Ooh,
opposite. He's
I like
truly
that.
loved, and he is going to be probably one of the most hated guys out there. I would say maybe 2, 3
Yeah.
years from now. Maybe not even that soon, but depending on how long he plans on staying at wrestling full time, I think that's going to be the big
Yeah.
key. But dude, he when he turns though, because there were some rumblings, he did get some booze. It wasn't 100%, obviously.
Yeah.
He did get
Of
some
course.
booze,
We love the
but
one. We love
yeah,
the one.
yeah, yeah. And Pat McAfee is obsessed with the bloodline, but I
Look,
think when the day comes, yeah, yeah,
one
he's probably doing that right now somewhere. But
right
the
here.
fact that yeah, the fact that he can be so loved right now, dude, when
Take
he
advantage, and I love it. Yeah.
oh, run it as far as you can, but I think it's gonna be prime in the sense that Triple H is gonna know and he's gonna get the sense like, okay, like we're at the top with Cody. We need to be
Yeah.
careful and then pull the trigger right when we need to. Like I'm not worried in
Yeah.
that regard.
I agree with the Cody Rhodes where it's all good. You know, we dwelled on the last 2 years of finishing this story. His dad, I get it. I think moving forward, it'd be in their best interest from a fan's point of view is stop mentioning Dusty now moving
Mm-hmm.
forward. Now it's him. Stop mentioning the past and whatever. Stop crying. And I love the crying because it got me emotional too. And I'll admit it. Don't, don't,
But we get it.
yeah, don't pull on the heartstrings of that past. Let's
Mm-hmm.
move on. And now you're defending. And now I don't want to hear the words. And I cringe every time I hear it. Open champion, I'm gonna be
A
I don't know if
fighting
this is a
champion.
I don't know if this is a Vince McMahon thing. I will figure out shortly. I hate the term fighting champion. I understand it as a babyface,
Yeah.
but I don't want to hear it anymore. We've heard too much of it. It's like if I'm a champion, yeah, I'll defend my championship, but I'm not going to defend it against Joe Schmo over there
Right.
or whatever. Like, I'm going to defend it over. I worked so hard for this almost, 15 years? I'm not going to defend it against anybody. And there's still a babyface angle to it. So I think Triple H does get that because DX and Shawn Michaels and Triple H has been a babyface, but none of them have come out and was like, I'm a defending champion. I'll face anybody.
No.
Whoever wants it, come get me. Like, no, that's lame. Like, that was what it was back in the day. It's like, if you want me, I'm confident. I'm a baby face, but like, you gotta step in the right direction. So I'm hoping that Cody Rhodes does sails away from Dusty, sails away from the family. We got it over with. Now it's time to defend. Now let's write the next chapter. Time to defend against whatever heel. And now it's up to the WWE to create more heels. It's hard to create baby faces nowadays. It is. It really is. We've seen Roman. They tried Roman Reigns for so many years to become babyface, and the universe didn't like it. So now that you have a babyface at the helm, now you got to create some heels, but also while creating a back, like I said, a plan B just in case Cody Rhodes gets injured. Cody Rhodes can't. Who do you have after that? So that's the dynamic of the business that I love. You always have a plan A, B, C, D, but every week those plans change. And like I said, that's what I love about the business.
Me too. Now, what do you think, going back to this story, because I know we've gone a little long, so I want to be mindful of that for you.
I love it.
What do you think?
Don't apologize to me. I'm locked in.
What do you think going forward is their direction? What do you think The Rock gave Cody in his hand on Monday night? And do you think my thought originally was we're gonna get Rock and Cody at SummerSlam, because I still see Rock and Roman at Mania. It would obviously be a Mania match, Cody and Rock at WrestleMania for the title, but I think they want SummerSlam to be a big deal this year, and I think they're gonna want a big marquee match like that. And I don't think Rock is gonna want to be gone too long. So if I had to put money down on it right now, wouldn't be a lot, but I would say Cody and Rock at SummerSlam, and then Rock and Roman at Mania.
That's a lot, though. That's a lot to ask for The Rock.
Of what, Rock? Yes and no, though. Was seeing how involved he was,
you gotta choose. I think, in my opinion, you gotta choose. Do you want The Rock for SummerSlam, or do you want The Rock for WrestleMania next year?
Well, I think obviously his schedule is the main factor, but
Brock Lesnar.
I don't know if we're getting Brock, man. I don't know. I mean, Triple H just said he is still under contract, but I think it's still too soon. I think
with time, Brock Lesnar does come back. In my opinion,
think he does.
I think time heals all. I think people realize he wasn't guilty, not guilty. Nothing has come about. Like, I'm being a realist. That I know you may differ from this, which I love, and I love your opinion of it. But I think Brock Lesnar has not gotten proven innocent, guilty. Time heals all. He's been out of the company for 3, 4, 5 months, whatever it is. SummerSlam, I think you bring back a Brock Lesnar, whether that has to do with Cody, whether that has to do with the undercard. Brock brings numbers, and that's what we just talked about in the beginning of this episode, was who brings numbers, who, obviously in the right way. You don't want to bring somebody back that's controversial, but wrestling has been controversial since day one. Like, let's not fool ourselves. Let's not pretend that the best quality humans have been wrestlers. We've watched wrestlers die while performing. We watched wrestlers die after, before, during. So Brock Lesnar does need to come back, and I think he should for WrestleMania, for SummerSlam. I don't think you do The Rock for SummerSlam and WrestleMania. I think you let The Rock record any show, movie, all the things, give him time off, because he made like $5 million. I read that in the time that he's been with WWE, because he's a board member, he's made $5 million based on ratings. So I think that The Rock takes time off. You don't see The Rock for the next probably 6 months. and then you bring back a couple other people. I think you bring back Brock Lesnar for SummerSlam, and he faces somebody. It doesn't matter who he faces. We all know Triple H hates Goldberg, so he's not going to be back.
Fuck no. Last person I want is
Please.
Goldberg.
Anti-Goldberg. Yeah. Anti-Goldberg.
The last I want is
All
Goldberg.
right, we agree
Fuck
with that.
guy. No, I'm not about it. But when do you think we get Roman back, though?
So what is it? April 11th. So what are we talking about? So we got Backlash in July. Well, no, June. What is it? July. I wrote it down in my planner. And
For what,
yes, I do have
SummerSlam?
a planner. Yeah, so SummerSlam is in Cleveland, which I looked at because my significant other is from Ohio, but I looked at the prices and they are high. So we'll see how that works out. I think 1, 2, 3 months. 3 months off for Roman is legitimate. Puts him in July. Does he make an appearance at SummerSlam without wrestling? Maybe he makes an appearance. And then you got Survivor Series. I think SummerSlam will be big enough without Roman Reigns and The Rock because you got CM Punk coming back. You got Seth Rollins coming back, taking time. You got the women's side. You got Jade Cargill will be a better performer. Then you could put, McAfee. You could put Jake Paul for that. So I think you have enough where
he's from Ohio.
Then you got Stone Cold, which wasn't at WrestleMania. Yeah. Maybe you put him in SummerSlam. So if we're future booking, which the Kick-Ass podcast can predict, and we're going to go ahead and do that. But I think Roman doesn't need to be at SummerSlam. I think The Rock doesn't need to be at SummerSlam. I think they built enough superstars enough for the next 3 or 4 months where they could survive without it, in my opinion.
I think, I could very easily see maybe a Roman appearance at SummerSlam, just like a quick return, not in just like a sighting, not even like anything heavy. And then
he's gonna be a face/heel because he's gonna come back.
That's what I'm saying. He got love in Philly. The
pop is just gonna be insane.
The fact that he got love in Philly and people were chanting "Thank you, Roman," whereas last time in Rome and
shout out the crowd for that, dude. Shout out the crowd for that because that's well deserved.
Yeah, I
would never see the situation where we were "Thank you, Roman" in a crowd, like organically, like not
the same
Cody
place that
saying,
booed him.
"Thank you, Roman." Like that was a crowd reaction that was organic, and I love that.
That was the same place when The Rock held his hand up for winning the Rumble. People shit and booed on The Rock. And The Rock was like, what's happening here? And to see that we've come full circle and the fact that he's already getting a thank you Roman chant, I think that's just an early sign. But it would be very
smart
cool
wrestling
to
fans
see,
right there.
Bro, yeah. It would be very cool to see Roman return in the Rumble, want to win, obviously, to get back on the road to WrestleMania, possibly get screwed, and then that just be another layer in the Rock Roman story. But I don't know. I'm not rushing anything. I would be good if Roman took a year off. And like I think what you said as well with Seth taking time, Punk being out, of course, due to injury. I think those returns coming back are going to set up a year plus of story. So I think we're good there. Yeah. But yeah,
and then while building up other superstars, you got McIntyre, you got CM Punk, you got Damian Priest, and then you got guys that are on the fringe like Austin Theory. You got guys like, I'm trying to think who else. Who else are they trying to build up in the mid card to make them bigger?
You have Ricochet. I mean, obviously Ricochet.
That was going to be my next say, but like, man, he's got to do better on the mic. He's got to build some personality with the people. In ring, like Will Ospreay, similar. In ring, we know what you are. That's we're not questioning. We don't care about in ring anymore. We don't, like, almost to the fault where you're so good in ring where like we completely put that aside.
Yeah.
I need you to be a character now. So maybe Ricochet disappears for a month and then comes back and does something different, you know?
maybe. But I mean, then you have Gunther right there. You know, like it's gonna be
Gunther.
real interesting to see what they do
Gunther.
with
The
Gunther, the direction.
ringer.
Yeah, yeah, and I think they're really going to showcase the women as well. I think they're really going to work on developing more stories, like I said earlier, that aren't just I want to be the champion type thing. Like I think it's going to be more. I have issues with you because of X, Y, and Z. But yeah, dude, I'm just like you said earlier, wrestling is in a good place. Wrestling is exciting again. Those of us who stuck with it through all the shitty years, I think this is why we're even more excited and we're even more happy with how things are going. But yeah, like I really think that this year going forward too is going to be really telling to see how far WWE pushes the boundaries on things, because the farther they push, I think your AEWs, your TN or your TNAs, your MLWs, even New Japan, I think they're gonna push the limits as well. Just because, if not for any other reason, they're gonna be forced to, especially your AEWs. And that's why earlier, like as much as it sounds like we're shit talking. It's all love, you know what I mean, and just love for the business as a whole.
You
So
know who's a
that's
woman that I love in the women division? Tiffany Stratton. Oh my
she's
God. You
gonna
talk
be
about
such a
superstar.
star. She's gonna be
Bro,
such a star,
I didn't watch her too much in NXT, but that elimination chamber, she was
dude.
getting chance while she was still locked in. Like Tiffany
She's
Stratton,
just grown
superstar.
so much. Like like her progression in a year. Not
24
in
years old. I'm looking it up now.
Yeah,
24 years old. Like
yeah, and
we
she's
just talked about
homegrown
it.
from
You
the
don't get to
NXT,
where you don't get to where you are until 30. Like I put
dude.
that 30-year-old as like the barometer, and
Mm-hmm.
she still has so much years and she's getting chance of in the elimination chamber. Like, all right,
Yeah, dude.
her time is now for sure. Also, I'm watching a couple of people in NXT, and I do see. Let me Google it real quick. Where is she? Where is she?
Who you're gonna mention?
Oh, who am I going to mention? Who am I going to
What's her
mention?
name? Lions.
No, not
Oh,
even her.
Nikita
Not
Lion.
even. No, not even her. She's injured right now. Who am I thinking of? I like the people that are listening right now. If you're still listening, ooh, no, the girl from LS. She used to play soccer. Let me look this up. I'm doing what I usually do for into the lab. Usually, I have my co-host. Not saying you're a bad co-host. You're a great co-host, or you're a great host. No, who's the black chick that's involved with Script and the bad guys? What's her name?
Oh,
She's about
oh,
she has something, man. I'm looking
not
it up
Lash
now.
Legend.
No, what's her name? Oh, Jada Parker.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not who I was thinking of. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Jada
Okay.
Parker. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, physically, not like I'm not. Hey, I'm not. Hey, I'm a man, so I can only say one thing. But also, ability-wise, athleticism, everything. I think she has a personality. Jada Parker in the next year too. She's another superstar. Like she's not going to be in
Yeah.
NXT too much longer. I see her
Yeah.
being called up to the main roster, like in like Survivor Series type.
I think so.
Jada Parker.
I think yeah. I could see that, and like I said, I think going forward, especially with the Survivor Series pay per view, it's going to be really interesting to see how they include NXT and how they handle their call ups, because we have the
Yeah.
draft coming up as well soon in a couple weeks. So that's going to be fun.
When's that? April, end of April, right? That's a big
Yeah,
shake in the roster for sure.
for sure. Yeah. I do just want to mention really quick. There, I meant to say this earlier. There was a screenshot from Forbes. They listed AEW Dynamite results from last night, April 10th. They have Edge defeating Penta El Zero Miedo, of course, in the opener. But then they have CM Punk defeating Jack Perry from backstage footage from AEW All In
Oh yeah, that was
2023.
awesome.
That's so
Shout
great.
out
That's
Forbes.
just so
So
fucking great.
good.
I love the petty.
Was that legit? Was that a legit like article
I don't
written?
know.
Somebody.
I was trying to search for it to see if it was legit. Regardless, it looks legit. So Shout out to whoever made that. It's probably not, but shout out to whoever
Amazing.
made that because it just cracks me up.
That was amazing.
But
Ashley, man, I could do
dude,
these podcasts
yeah,
with you every single week. Hopefully I'm on again soon because
absolutely,
wrestling, yeah,
absolutely,
I know you took a little time off to figure out
yes,
your life situation, work
yes.
situation, not to get too personal, but
No, it is what it is.
the
Yeah.
world needs kick-ass podcasts
No,
every
and
single week.
I miss it. I miss having you on, man. It's been great, but again, plug Into the Lab because if you listen here, you definitely should be listening and would enjoy Into the Lab for sure.
Yes. Enter the Lab every single Monday night, live on YouTube. We talk it all. So we talk sports, entertainment, news. We try to have fun. If you want to get on the podcast, we're open to anybody that wants to hop on with us and talk whatever you got going on, whether it's business, whether it's creativity. And yeah, so this week we just recorded episode 120, which we've in 2 years, we've taken off probably like 2 weeks. So we've been at it. If you do the math, it's a podcast every single week. So we have episode 121 coming up this week on Monday night. We have a guest for UFC 300 that actually trains some of the people that you will see fighting in UFC 300. We've had them on 2 or 3 times already. So tune into Enter the Lab on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. It's a fun time. You don't we have all of our episodes timestamped. So if you don't like the intro, you don't like what we're talking, you could skip ahead to we talk wrestling. We talk everything you need to know. So we appreciate anybody that tunes in, likes us, shares it with a friend. And I'm always fortunate to hop on Kick Ass Podcast. And hopefully it's not a year and a half that goes
Yes,
by that I'm on
absolutely
another
not.
episode.
Absolutely not, dude. But again, I appreciate you for hopping on here and giving so much of your time. I would be splicing all this up and adding the timestamps and young Pat there as well. Shout out to him. And again, shout out to Bree. Appreciate her allowing you to jump on here.
Yes, of course.
I'm gonna try to get this edited and wrapped up here and get this posted. But dude, we'll definitely figure out something. I'll get my schedule a good idea of my schedule the next 2-3 weeks and
Figure it out.
my new life.
Figure it
Yeah.
out. Let's go.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you, dude.
Love it, dude. Love everybody. Appreciate if you're tuning in. If you're tuning in, what, 2 hours and 20 plus minutes? Thank you guys.
Yeah.
This has been
Yeah.
a fun breakdown of AEW and WWE.
Yes, sir. But until next time, my friend. Peace out.